Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's joint webinar with Zengines and Nous Infosystems on legacy data modernization, addressing the elephant in the enterprises today. My name is Pratiksha, and I will be your host for the webinar. Before we begin our session, I would like to inform you that you can type in your questions during the webinar, and we'll try and answer those at the end of the session. As a three-part webinar series, our first theme, Free Yourself from Legacy Technologies, addresses the pressing need to break away from outdated systems that hinder innovation and efficiency. We'll explore how enterprises can navigate this critical transition phase and unlock new possibilities for growth and agility. Moving forward, our second theme, automate data conversions end-to-end, AI-powered recognition. Lastly, we'll explore building your change solution to be repeatable and scalable AI foundation. About Nous. Nous Infosystems is a leading global IT service provider delivering innovative technology solutions to customers across industries with more than 2 decades in the technology business. We have enabled Fortune 500 companies and SMEs to achieve digital excellence through quality engineering services. We have served customers across the globe in business verticals, including banking and financial services, insurance, healthcare, life sciences, retail, and manufacturing. We're excited to be hosting this event in collaboration with our esteemed partners, Zengines. Zengines is an AI tech company founded in 2020 with the vision of frictionless data conversion. When organizations migrate between enterprise applications, platforms, or outsourced services, Zengines automates the data conversion process end-to-end, reducing the time, cost, and risk associated with implementing new technologies. Zengines has worked with large global companies in financial services and beyond. So for this webinar, we have Caitlin, who is the CEO and co-founder of Zengines. Welcome, Caitlin.
Thanks,
So prior to launching Zengines, Caitlin has spent over 20 years leading and advising global companies in financial services, telecommunications, and energy, where converting, managing, and optimizing data is a top priority. Next, and in the last several years, Caitlin focused on strategizing about and developing innovative technology solutions like AI and automation to help business grow and achieve strategic goals. Caitlin has a BS with honors in electrical and computer engineering from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and an MBA from the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. We also have Dr. Srinivasan Narayan, or Srini, Nous' EVP and Global Technology Transformational Leader. He is responsible for driving innovation and implementing digital technologies to improve business processes. Srini had led several software development programs for Fortune 1000 clients over the past 2 decades. And we also have Jayaprakash Sharma, who is the practice head of BI at Nous Infosystems. We'll begin by setting the context, highlighting the role of data modernization in today's digital landscape, followed by common modernization challenges, and finally, we'll discuss the role of Nous Zengines AI solutions. And lastly, we'll address the Q&A, allowing you to share your thoughts and also ask any questions to the panelists. Now, to set the context for today's webinar, I will hand over to Srini. Srini, over to you.
Thank you, Pratiksha, for this wonderful introduction. And quite happy to be in this webinar, which is, discussing the most relevant topic of today for enterprises. We are at the stage of unprecedented AI technology revolution. Really exciting time to be a part of this journey. It's literally AI everywhere, and floodgates have opened since release of ChatGPT, OpenAI, Gemini, and the list is endless. While artificial intelligence itself dates back to 1956, coined by John McCarthy for the first time, like any other technology, innovation to become mainstream, the necessary tools, ecosystems, innovations need to be in place for a wider adoption. And to be successful as a general purpose technology, one has to see the real business value it delivers. With this backdrop, several research agencies have concurred on the staggering growth of AI market. By 2030, AI could contribute over to 15 trillion to the global economy, with North America alone expected to contribute to close to 4 trillion, potentially boosting the GDP by roughly 15%. AI market in North America is projected to expand significantly, highlighting the region's leadership role in the AI revolution. Globally, GDP will also get a significant boost due to AI's impact, underscoring its transformative power across various industries. We see the ample data that AI directly contributes to the top line growth through innovations like driverless cars, hyper-personalization, sustainability solutions, new drug discovery, business agility, and so on. We do see significant operational efficiencies like productivity gains from business process automation, robots, productivity improvements from assisted augmented AI labor force, etc. Certainly, this opens up new vistas for AI-enhanced products and services that will lead the next wave of innovations and transformational growth. It's no surprise recently Anthony J. Blinken, Secretary of State, remarked, AI will shape our lives in every facet, like the way we do our jobs, energy management, and even how we fight the future wars. A few weeks back, we all witnessed for the first time fighter F-16 taking a historic ride piloted by AI. On the adoption front, AI, as per McKinsey, is set to grow tenfold by 2030 at a phenomenal growth rate of 37% annually. IBM mentioned in a recent report, roughly 42% of big businesses are already using AI in their operations. So is Statista highlighted generative AI will grow by 47% by 2030. As per the characteristics of a general purpose technology, we see the impact and infusion of AI in every industry. For starters, BFSI is one of the top ML users, benefits significant gains from revenues and efficiencies. Healthcare generates 30% of global data with 6% of growth on year over year. AI technologies are expected to save 360 billion a year in this, which is very significant. Retail, half of in-store spending is influenced by digital interactions, with 16% of retailers reporting higher revenues and 72% on cutting costs, thanks to AI-powered solutions. Equally invested is manufacturing sector. Digital transformation spending is forecast to top over 3 trillion by 2027, with 35% of manufacturers using AI to boost efficiency up to 20%. Now, if we look at closely, it is crystal clear that at the heart of every AI journey, data plays a key role in innovation, models, maturity, adoption, and finally the success. It's fair to say AI without data, it is artificial. It's no pun intended here. It'll be without intelligence, right? I like several quotes on this front, but the one is data is the fuel that activates or drives the AI machines is one of my favorite. There are others, as we see here below. I mean, for AI to soar, data provides a wind beneath the wings. I mean, we can go on and on. There's several, right? So the point is, in addition, we also see the enterprise data modernization initiatives directly correlate to the organizational profitability. Data-driven organizations demonstrate EBITDA increase up to 25%. It's kind of documented. Customer acquisition and retention are also key goals for every organization, even more so in this highly competitive global economy. These organizations which use data 23 times are more effective in acquiring customers and 6 times more likely to retain them. Finally, the competitive advantage of data-driven strategies in customer-centric markets cannot be understated. Cost savings, the final limit, is very critical too. Falling behind on this can hurt organizations roughly on an average of close to 10 million. With all these, it's clear that data modernization is not a trend. It is strategic imperative for staying competitive and profitable in today's business environment. Yeah, if you look at the bottom 3 data, right, to prohibit this data locked in legacy systems, which is the core point here, is really prohibiting the power of modern data solution, right? Though 84% of organizations have already attempted their journey towards some kind of data modernization, many of them can significantly reduce their spending up to 35% by employing the innovative data transformation process, especially AI-powered solutions. This brings me to the topic of this webinar in terms of context setting, to call out elephant in the room, legacy data. While data modernization is at the top of every boardroom CXO's mind, for the reasons I've stated before, it does seriously pose a galore of challenges. Legacy modernization efforts are, faces several hurdles, right? Managing high overall costs, training the staff for the new systems, potential downtime, costly data migration efforts, exacerbated with the needs to ensure compatibility with the new technologies, and time-consuming and error-prone data format conversions. Data stacks also are complex, inefficient, costly, often residing in outdated systems, hinder accessibility to integration with modern applications. However, thankfully, AI is here today, save the day by addressing these challenges across the data modernization life cycles. AI facilitates right from data generation, augmentation, data cleansing, transformation via synthetic data generation, augmentation, so on. AI also can analyze the structure and semantics of data to avoid inconsistencies. AI also improves semantic understanding of data mapping, ensuring accurate mapping between source and target data systems quickly. Additionally, AI enhances data privacy by security by preserving statistical properties of sensitive data sets to comply with regulations, which is also another key dimension. To summarize, in the context setting, we saw 4 aspects. AI is becoming a general purpose technology at great speed. AI is becoming pervasive across industries. We see that adoption. Data is fundamental to AI success, and the data is locked in legacy systems, hindering the AI, agile AI adoption. For AI to work its magic, we need quality data. But interestingly, legacy data modernization journeys can be addressed by effectively with AI. So to know more about this, let's dive a little bit deep into this legacy data challenges. Let me invite Kate, CEO of Zengines, to shed additional insights. Kate, over to you.
Thank you, Srini. I appreciate being able to share about this topic. It's one that I'm quite passionate about. One, to enable organizations to be able to harness and build AI solutions for their businesses, but also how we've leveraged AI to help organizations be able to build AI solutions. So from the content that you just walked through, I think a main point is obvious, which is organizations have to modernize to stay relevant. We know that that's hard, and 2 facts come to life. First, enterprises cannot afford to wait for that transformative change for all those reasons that you just shared, Srini. And second, enterprises are not optimal today in how they spend money when trying to achieve that change. Let's go back to this first point and learn from what history has taught us. According to the creative destruction theory, we are currently in the 6th innovation wave, where data, availability, AI, IoT, robotics, all of those things are going to be a catalyst to helping businesses achieve tremendous growth, or they will be a disruption that leads to unfortunate demise. Per economic research, the first innovation wave happened during the Industrial Revolution, when the first factory came up. And since then, it took 60 years for the next technology breakthrough to appear. Since then, the innovation cycles are shortening. In other words, technology and innovation is happening more and more rapidly, such that today, from that 5th wave to today's 6th wave, has only been 30 years. So all of this to say it's imperative for organizations to have a response to AI. And on the second point, in order for organizations to truly embrace and capitalize on innovation, they have to, it's all about execution. So they need to make sure that what they're doing and how they're doing it allows them to truly achieve their results. We each know, either from personal experience or from customers and clients that we work with, customers' stories that have challenges in achieving that. And I think that's why one of the things I'm very excited about is to be able to share the story of Zengines and how we've helped customers get through this. So, reiterating Srini's point, success in AI, which is the current innovation wave that we're in, means having access to data. More importantly, an AI solution is differentiated for you as a company if you can harness your most proprietary asset, which is data. And therefore, you can benefit from this innovation cycle. So let's define what we mean by legacy data. Legacy data refers to information that might be stored in outdated systems or formats that make it difficult for you to access it in an efficient and scalable way. But note that this doesn't mean that legacy data is in systems that was built 50, 60, 70 or more old years ago. It could just simply be that it's data in a system that you're just moving to today. And it could be a more modern system, but now you need to make sure that you're still using and have access to that data. We know that legacy data is valuable beyond the current innovation agenda as well. For example, more than half of the global companies invest in legacy data modernization programs to increase security and for efficiency purposes in business as usual. And then more than 60% of organizations are intentionally spending on legacy data modernization efforts so that they could integrate with modern tech. So if we know, on this next slide, if we know that more than half of global companies are spending time and effort here, we should talk about some of the challenges as to why sometimes that spend is more than it should be. So as we've said, 50% of companies actually indicate that this singular initiative of getting modernization to legacy data is how they perceive modernization for their company, which is pretty important to say that this one thing can be something that unlocks a whole innovation agenda for a company. And it's not surprising why, right? These are just some stats here that reflect the value of being able to achieve your modernization of legacy data, the fact that you can reduce overall IT operational expenses by a fair amount and be able to get through your innovation agendas, your business strategic initiatives in a faster and cheaper way. But what makes it difficult? One of the first things that we've seen is that organizations have the lack of a unified or end-to-end solution when they try to tackle this problem. Legacy data and how it works, it is difficult because there are so many things in trying to modernize and make it integrated or make it available to other entities, other data stores. From being able to identify and locate them, to being able to profile that information so you know what you're working with, to mapping it, to transforming it, to moving it. All of these things are important in ensuring that you actually have an ability to get through a data migration. And what we see is that there are a lot of piecemeal approaches today, which means this is inefficient, or there is a swivel chair action when you're going through the conversion effort. And the second is just the overall difficulty in data mapping. I like to break this down into two ways of thinking about data mapping. First is the technical aspect. We want to make sure that you can map from one data store to another, and that involves tables and fields, enumerations of the data, code lists, pick lists, etc. But then there's also the content of the data and how you interpret that, because you want business continuity. So how business has become comfortable and how they store that data and use that data in one system is not necessarily how it would be stored and used and seen in another system. So data mapping is more than just a technical aspect, and that's why, from our perspective, bringing an AI solution helps tackle both of these challenges. On the next slide, while I've been speaking about it, I like to use this visual depiction of what happens when organizations are looking to try to modernize their legacy data. I like to use the analogy of moving houses. As you can see on the left-hand side, what you start with is that you accumulate things. Over time, data gets stored in one way, it gets merged with something else, it gets called something else, it's reused in a report, and then now suddenly it's transformed in a different way. And as we've said, the innovation cycles happen, history happens to organizations, and that data becomes quite convoluted. So during a data migration, whether that is because you are embarking on an initiative, because you are intentionally trying to modernize your legacy data and your legacy technology environment, you have not just the opportunity, but the requirement to actually distill and simplify that data. You have a chance to actually organize that, and when you do, you have the ability to now make that data be accessible. We do know that poorly executed data conversions then results in pain that radiates well beyond the migration effort. So a team might be focused on a specific systems implementation or a specific post-merger systems integration effort. And if that doesn't go well, it's more than just the team and that program plan that's going to be impacted. It's all of the downstream systems that use that data from either the original source system or the future target system, and all of the information that flows out of those systems to your internal customers and clients or your external third parties. So what we'd like to share here is, if you've encountered some of these pain points, we believe that there is some root cause of that associated with data conversion or the data migration aspects of it. First, if you are simply going through an implementation overrun and cost overrun, we find that data conversions are at least, if not more than 30% of your typical cost base in a project. And therefore, we see that there's usually a underestimation of that time and effort because of the complexity and because of the lack of tools to do it well and efficiently. So if you're seeing some of this, we would say that you might want to ask, well, what's happening with the data conversion? Is this where we're getting stuck? On the second one, it is because if you're having challenge associated with truly hitting your estimates, you find that over time, your deadlines, as well as your contingencies or the margin of error keeps getting wider and wider. We find that, again, this is associated with data conversions. Sometimes you think that the data is messy, but you just don't know how messy. And therefore, you're not able to truly have a strong confidence in that prediction of the estimates. And one thing that we can enable organizations to get through is better profile that data to have higher confidence in what you have to truly tackle. And then finally, I'd say that this is why there are a plethora of expensive and difficult data integration solutions in enterprises today. It's because teams don't truly fully decom a system that they intended to, right? I think everyone might be able to relate to this one. You start off on a project, you get through 70 or 80% of that data conversion, and then the team runs out of time, energy, and money, and they say, that's going to be good enough. I guess I'll have to keep these bits of data still hanging on in this old system. And you don't think that you're going to incur the same amount of cost on that old system, but you're still incurring cost. And unfortunately, what happens is that business is still using that data. So now you have to build a connector to that legacy system. And then that continues to proliferate as you continue to advance and try to take advantage of innovation in the marketplace. So what we say here is a poor data conversion project leads to the inability of fully decommissioning a system and reducing yourself of that cost and hopefully realizing your full ROI. So if any of you are going through some of these challenges in your programs today, we would love to share have a conversation with you, share some ideas, and understand if that's part of a problem around truly accessing or modernizing your legacy data. To make this come to life, I'd like to share a little bit of a case study of something that Zengines and the team here have been able to help a global financial services firm achieve, which is modernizing from mainframe. The background context here is a large global financial services firm. Both have capabilities and businesses in the capital markets as well as in the banking business. And they were undergoing a modernization effort to move off of mainframe into a cloud SaaS-based solution. And when we refer to mainframe in this case, it involved COBOL and RPG code in the DB2 structures. In this case, what happened that made it even more difficult was that a lot of that legacy data and legacy business rationale, the business requirements, was trapped in mainframe. The organization had little or no documentation around the source systems or what had been prepared a long time ago, why it was built and coded that way. The original developers, architects, and even the experts were becoming scarce and scarcer by the day. And the need to find this and discover it was a hunting job, if you will, right? It was, all right, we're going to go in, we're going to read the code, and we're going to see what we can find. And as you can imagine, no program has the budget, time, or energy to be able to do this in a sustainable way. So what did we do? We first started to help with a data discovery. So again, legacy data sometimes means that it's difficult to understand what's there. It's difficult to access that. So data discovery in this case was to make sure that we could expose that information to the program team and allow them to use all of that information as a current state documentation, fact-based, right, and data-based, so that they could design a future state solution. And this included ingesting a whole lot of things, a lot of COBOL modules and millions of rows of code, and distill that. So we were able to expose from that several tens of thousands of hard-coded values. We also identified hard-coded data in code. In other words, you couldn't have extracted this and queried a database in order to get this data. It was actually written in code. That's what makes sometimes modernizing off of legacy technology so difficult. So you can see in terms of some of the results here that a lot was achieved in a very short period of time. We're not talking about months and years here, team. We're talking about things that can be ingested and exposed in minutes. And then from there, the interpretation with the business team to ensure that they are building the right future requirements out of this. It also meant that we were able to reduce business and compliance risk because they now have continuity with that legacy data, right? And I think that's such an important point for organizations, which is you continue your business operations, but you're able to harness and capitalize on the innovation. So this is just one example. We're happy to share much more, and I know that there may be questions, and I'll pass it over to you, JP, to talk about now how we're bringing this as a solution to customers and enterprises worldwide.
Thanks, Kate. I think, Kate, large amount of insights in terms of what really stuck in legacy. Very interesting to learn things in what you mentioned, and also the very interesting case study where we can what normally takes months and years you do within few weeks. Very impressive. I think in the original problem we spoke about the legacy modernization and the challenges. Certainly we also mentioned that AI can be here to the rescue. Right, a couple of points I want to highlight before turn over to JP to get into the details of the solution. AI-powered data modernization decreases up to 40%, something which you mentioned before, right? Quantum leap in data migration, with data cleansing, transformation, mapping can be remarkable speed with the AI. We can certainly do that. Migration strategies, analyzing data, tailoring performance to suit to each other, problems and strengths. That can be done again by AI. Increased efficiency, accuracy, and agility is very important when you deal with petabytes of data, large amount of data in the enterprise. That's critical. With all this, I see we can if you need to accelerate a data modernization journey in the enterprise, you have no other option but to employ the AI. That's something which you kind of been saying all along. So with this, I just want to point out the next line that DMAS, Nous Infosystems solution. Here, data modernization happens at lightning speed. When we state a problem, we also kind of bring the solution as the innovative company and the collaboration. In the next slide, DMAS is nothing but data migration as a service. AI-powered solution which can modernize the data at a fast pace. So we have done some baselining. Certainly we see that much higher velocity at a lower cost, which is the need of the hour to unlock the legacy data in an enterprise, is achieved through the data migration service from Nous and Zengines. How it works, JP, to you goes in detail.
Thanks, Srini. So Nous data migration workbench, we call it DMAS. This provides unified end-to-end solution for any data conversions. There are several use cases where data conversion is very critical, like application modernizations, data modernization, customer onboarding for any SaaS offering, even the data platform modernization. There are several use cases where this is very, very important. Most of the cases, especially when data conversion is involved, it is mostly one-time job with very intensive mapping, cleansing, validation activities, along with some crucial data load and transformations. Most of the organizations either fail in getting this right, or finally achieve this, but missing many crucial deadlines. That is the challenge that most of the organizations face. Those were covered even in the previous slides. Migration workbench. This is a framework powered by Zengines. It provides completely automated solution to address this kind of problem, so that for initial data profiling, preload validations, mapping, and all the crucial data load and post-migration data validation and reconciliation, it provides unified solution, which number one reduces the time it takes, and then reduces the complexity of manual mapping. And that's where the AI-powered engine helps in completely automating the mapping and building the pipelines for transformations and load. So that cuts down the entire migration time from even months to weeks or in sometimes days, and provides much more quality outcome in the end during the conversion process. Okay. So if we drill down into the the DMAS working at a broad level, it works in assessment, then migration and validation as three major pieces. Okay. In this, again, there are multiple stages. Look at the data mapping, data migration, especially mapping is AI driven, and then the migration, building the pipelines for the migration again is completely no code design. And then the post-migration, the migration and post-migration validation, again, all no code with the Nous Infosystems solution. So this is an iterative process, and the beauty of this is normally in a regular implementations, this is the place where entire time of conversion goes, but multiple iterations can be very easily turned around. That way, the entire migration process or the data conversion process is very fast and so let me hand over to Kate to take you through the capabilities of Zengines.
Thanks, JP. So what Zengines has built, as mentioned before, is this unified end-to-end platform. And in doing so, you can see off of the green capabilities there on the left-hand side, we knew that it was very important to include these capabilities specifically harnessed for a data conversion effort. So the ability to profile the data, understand what you have at hand, the ability to classify the data, because behind the scenes, we're then using that classification information to help with automated AI-based mapping and transformation rules. We expose data lineage because we know sometimes being able to connect and understand what happened to data over time is important to be able to harness and access that data, as we said earlier, and so on and so forth. So all of these are capabilities that are available in one platform. They're all interconnected, and we see it's helpful to make sure that then this can help organizations from early stages of planning and all the way through the validation, as JP was sharing with us. So this is a quick view to share with teams where we think those capabilities need to be made available and need to be robust for teams as you're undertaking these modernization efforts.
So that brings to the almost the near end of the webinar. We saw the the problem, we saw the solution, DMAS designs. With this, essentially AI-led data mapping from source to target, automated discovery, 5x faster migration to the target, up to 50% cost savings, and automated validation. All these kind of come together as the need of the hour to move the legacy data from the enterprises into the modern systems, which can lendable to AI, so that organization can stay competitive, and they can take this journey more successfully. As we say, data quality is paramount in AI, and this whole DMAS Gen solutions kind of accelerates this overall journey with a lot of ease and at the lower cost. Next slide. Pratiksha, over to you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Srini and JP. So we'd like to open the floor for any questions. All right, so now we have a question. So how can I use this? How can I get started, and can I use the service if my project has already started? So I guess, Kate, can you take this question up?
Yes, absolutely. There was a slide that we were sharing earlier in terms of the different phases that we know organizations go through when they are looking to embark on a modernization efforts. And what we would say is if your efforts are in that early ideation or planning stage, then Zengines and the Nous team, we are immediately helpful in sharing with you information around that fact-based current state. That allows the team to have an ability to understand how big of an effort there is at hand, how bad the data quality is, so that you know what type of effort or time estimates you need to be putting in place, i.e. get to that assessment that JP displayed in one of those slides. If your project is already underway, Zengines can be inserted into the efforts. One of the things that we recognize is that conversions are happening and modernization efforts are always happening everywhere, and you're not always necessarily at the starting line with the team. And in that way, Zengines has capabilities to ingest current state work artifacts. So things like scripts that might have already been done, mapping that might have already been complete. These things are easy to be ingested, and then we can pick up and either add confidence to the assessment if the team has already gone through that, or accelerate things like mapping, generate the transformation rules and generate those transformation loads so you go live as soon as possible.
Thank you, Kate. So we have another question. So what's the ideal use case for solution? Where can I use Zengines and where can I not? I think JP,
Yeah,
you
I'll
should
take this. Yeah. So any migration scenario is the best use case for Zengines. I actually covered in my slide, any application modernization, DB modernizations, customer onboarding, for especially the SaaS solutions where we, for the SaaS product, many companies may be the customers. When we want to onboard any company into the SaaS product, their data need to be mapped to the data repository of the SaaS. That's a huge process. So that is a key use case. And there are any database modernizations if you want to move from a legacy technology into modern technology, then there is a data conversion needed. So these are the some use cases where Zengines can be very well used.
So we have
Over
another
to you,
question.
Pratisha. There are any questions?
Yes. Thank you, JP. So can you handle unstructured data? I guess, Kate, you can take this question.
Yeah, happy to. Yes, Zengines can handle structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. With respect to the typical use cases that JP just answered there, Zengines supports the ingestion as well as annotation of files like Excel and PDF, which is where we typically find more of that semi-structured and unstructured data content. And we're able to extract and convert that into relevant data that is part of then the overall data conversion.
Thank you, Kate. So we have a next question. Why should I use the solution when there are many ETL or integration tools in the market?
Yeah, let me take this. Yeah,
sure. Okay.
So the key differentiator of Nous Infosystems solution is it provides a unified solution where it automates entire data mapping, profiling, pre and post migration validation through AI. This is, a key differentiator, and this significantly reduces migration efforts and definitely avoids manual errors. When we look at any other integration or ETL tools, for each of these jobs, you may have to go to a different component separately. You name any industry standard ETL tools. They focus more on the ETL or integration, but when it comes to validations, you may have to integrate with some other validation tools. And if you want to automate, mapping, then they have a primitive mapping mechanism, where again you may have to depend on some other custom scripts. So those all are avoided, and it provides completely unified solution, so that from start to the end you can do with one single solution and more effectively.
Yeah, to add to what
Thank you.
JP said, I think, while we have scanned dozens of solutions in the market, I think end-to-end is our key when we propose to client. And this is very key that, Zengines is able to kind of bring the value in a single platform with our solution.
Thank you, JP. Thank you, Shani. So we have one last final question. Due to time's constraint, we will take only one. So the question is, who uses the product? I guess, Kate, can you take this up?
Sure, yes. Zengines was built for a average business analyst user. Our users access our product through a web URL. We are a SaaS-based product, cloud native. That said, we have seen different projects implement different team structures when they're going through a modernization or a data conversion effort. Some cases, it's the enterprise team that is doing the data conversion activities like mapping and transformation rules. And sometimes they bring in third parties and or work with the software vendor to get that job done. Zengines is partnering here with Nous for a full service offering. And that is very exciting for me because I think as the intro around Nous was made available earlier today, Nous's expansive reach in all data domains, all these critical industries, that's what allows this solution to be made available to companies worldwide. So you can rely on this collective team here to help you get through your data conversions while reducing time, cost, and risk.
Thank you, Kate. So we appreciate all of your time and engagement and for the questions. So if you don't have any questions now and you want to ask the questions further on, so you don't have to worry. We will follow up via mail, and we can provide you additional information where your query will be answered. So you can join us on our upcoming webinars. That is where we will explore cutting-edge solutions in enterprise data management. So in the month of July, we present unified AI-led end-to-end data migration, coalescing multi-step data conversions. This session will unveil how our unified tool integrates into existing systems, solving challenges such as data orphans while highlighting key benefits. Then, in the month of August, don't miss this. Repeatable onboarding simplified with AI, avoiding custom migrations every time, where we demonstrate how AI-based mapping automation accelerates client onboarding, eliminating the need to build mappings and data pipelines from scratch. With each new customer, join us to discover these transformative approaches to streamline your enterprise processes effectively. So I thank you everyone for joining us for today's webinar session. We appreciate you being here. I'm afraid due to time constraints, we will only be able to wrap this up at this time. And thanks once again and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thanks, Pratiksha. Thanks, JP, and thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you.